Hello, this is Colleen Pearl the Cool Crone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the 2024 March astrology. If you'd like to book a reading with me, please go to my website, thecoolcrone.com, and look for Book Now. There you will see a listing of all the things I offer, as well as have an opportunity to book a reading. Thank you. 2. In this video, we will cover how to get a reading, how to get the most out of this video, your monthly overview, planetary ingresses, the retrograde planets, and planetary aspects by week. So in order to get the most out of my videos, you're going to want your own birth chart. Go to astro.com, set up a free account, and you can create one. Now, once you have your chart, all the little symbols are going to be a bit confusing. Again, go to Google, type in astrology symbols, and in the results list, scroll down until you find Wikipedia astrological symbols. In that article, about halfway down, you're going to find some excellent tables that will translate the planets and the symbols for the zodiac signs. Then I would suggest doing a little exercise where you sit down with your chart and translate for yourself in longhand what the symbols on your chart really mean. Then when you're listening to my video, it'll make more sense when I say the sun is in 15 degrees of Cancer, so all of you who have cardinal signs from 10 to 20 degrees are going to be affected. These things will make a lot more sense. All right, let's get on with the video. Now let's talk about the big stuff for the month. Gentle spring energy embraces us this month as we enter the season of Aries, but we still have many planets hanging out in Pisces. Venus and Mars will start the month in Aquarius, which is a fun sign, but one which is very focused on the individual. They each move into Pisces at some point in the month, bringing them into the collective. But the watery fish energy will not feel like a usual spring fling, where we imagine baby lambs frolicking in the grass with birds flitting around them all the time. Saturn and Neptune are also in Pisces, making us feel the serious side of Pisces. Compassion, working for the good of the masses, spiritual energy, and imagination will be flowing during March. Even up to and including the time of the full moon eclipse in Libra, also a gentle sign, which occurs near the end of the month. There is tremendous energy this month for healing and connecting with your angels and guides, as well as a deep, deep sense of inspiration, fantasy, and imagination. Venus and Neptune, both in Pisces, as well as many connections with Uranus and Mercury, allow us to travel to the higher realms with ease and get messages to help us on our spiritual journey. And now let's move to the planetary ingresses. On March 9th, Mercury will enter Aries. It's direct all month, but I should warn you that it stations retrograde on April 1st, April Fool's Day. On March 11th, Venus will enter Pisces. On March 19th, we have the Vernal Equinox, which may seem early to some, but it's actually right on time. On March 21st, the Sun will enter Aries, and the following day, Mars will enter Pisces. On March 9th, Mercury enters Aries, where we have the energy of the child who is discovering that they are autonomous from their mother. There is joy and wonderment, curiosity about everything they see, and a desire to learn, speak, and read everything they can about all the topics they love. Per usual Aries energy, everything they are currently focused on is the most important topic in the world. On March 11th, when Venus enters Pisces, we have Venus in the sign of its exaltation. Here we find Venus energy at its best, caring, loving, compassionate, truly beautiful soul energy. We will see a kinder, gentler energy being demonstrated at every level of life. It's really wonderful for this time of year. On Tuesday, March 19th, we will have the spring equinox at 11:06 p.m. And on March 21st, the sun will enter Aries. The sun in Aries will bring the energy of babies being born, crops being planted, and generally the northern hemisphere waking up to spring. Now, most of you may be used to the vernal equinox falling on March 21st every year like clockwork when the sun enters Aries. And that used to be the case. But actually, the last time that the spring equinox really coincided with March 21st and with the sun going into Aries was in 2007. So it's been a minute. It has been wobbling backwards ever since. The equinox is actually measured as the moment the sun crosses the celestial equator, not the earthly equator. The celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator from south to north. On March 22nd, Mars will enter Pisces. Mars in Pisces is a quiet energy. There is a sense of movement, but no calling attention to oneself. Creative people, people who work with energy or spiritual people, will all feel this energy and welcome it in. It's a great energy to do work on yourself, but also to do work on others and help them. If you are looking for divine guidance, you will feel it during this transit. Mars will be in Pisces for about 6 weeks. And now on to retrograde planets. Everything is moving forward. Even Lilith and Chiron are direct this month. All the planets are direct. The node is typically retrograde, and that's normal. And now on to the planetary aspects, and I will be taking us week by week with the exception of the first week where I'm going to tack on the first 2 days of March. So the first week, or 9 days that I'm going to talk about, is March 1st through the 9th. As you can see, we have a lot of aspects during this first section of March. We have the Sun sextile Jupiter, Venus sextile Chiron, Venus sextile the node, Mercury opposing Lilith, Venus squaring Uranus, Mercury sextile Uranus, Chiron conjunct the node, Mars sextile the node, Mars sextile Chiron, Sun opposing Lilith, Mercury conjunct Neptune, Sun sextile Uranus, and Mars square Uranus. Now, when I'm talking about Lilith, I just want to clarify that I am referring to Black Moon Lilith, and I will explain what she really is later in the video when we come up to her aspects. So let's start with the Sun sextile Jupiter. This aspect, when the Sun will be at 11 degrees Pisces, 24 minutes, and Jupiter will be at 11 degrees Taurus, 24 minutes, will give people a feeling of well-being and a self-assured attitude. In the signs of Pisces and Taurus, we'll experience feelings of charity, calm, healing, and quiet confidence while attending to the needs of others, making sure that everyone has what they need. Also on March 1st, we will have Venus sextiling Chiron, Venus being at 17 degrees Aquarius, 7 minutes, and Chiron being at 17 degrees Aries, 15 minutes. Venus in Aquarius can be somewhat aloof on a personal level, but when dealing with other people can be quite effective. She's charming, helpful, and pursues the comfort and healing of others very naturally. Now throw in Chiron in Aries with its childlike enthusiasm about everything, and we have someone who doesn't know what they cannot do. Those sensitive to this aspect will be intent on healing and helping others to get to their goals. If those goals pertain to actual healing, then all the better. The Venus Chiron native will also find gratification in their acts. This could also be a time when relationships can be healed. But for this to be effective on relationships, I feel that both parties have to be willing to come together to work on a solution. Also on March 1st, we have Venus sextile the node. Venus will be at 17 degrees Aquarius, 7 minutes. The node will be at 17 degrees Aries, 40 minutes retrograde. The high 30,000 feet view of one's mission in life will be the focus here. We may feel a pull towards new missions or life plans, or we may polish up our original goals and put a new spin on things. Either way, it will be a good time to look at what we are doing on a daily or weekly basis and check in as to whether this actually furthers our goals. Some adjustments may need to be made. On March 3rd, Mercury opposes Lilith. Mercury will be at 16 degrees Pisces 54. Lilith will be at 16 degrees Virgo 54. Now, I promised I would explain what Black Moon Lilith really was earlier in this video. So what is Black Moon Lilith, and what does it mean in your chart? Black Moon Lilith, sometimes referred to as simply Lilith or BLM, is a point in the orbit of the moon when the moon is furthest away from the Earth. The moon's orbit, as you can see by my picture, is not circular, it's elliptical. And the Earth isn't exactly in the center of it. The moon is actually closer to one side of her orbit than the other. For this reason, the moon can form a lunation known as supermoons when it's at the lunar perigee, when it's the closest to the Earth. When the moon is at her most distant, we call that lunar apogee. And Black Moon Lilith is located at the point that mirrors the Earth's location in the oval on the side of the lunar apogee. In other shorter words, it's basically the real-life version of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. In fact, it's occasionally referred to as the dark moon. Now, what does Lilith opposing Mercury actually mean? If you're sensitive to this configuration, it means that you may be struggling with your feelings about certain aspects of your life and whether or not to bring them out into the open. For instance, say you're writing a book. You might be grappling with whether or not to include information about your most intimate habits in order to bring a character to life. Or if you're not an author, you may be struggling with an aspect of your intimate life that's giving you trouble in the form of embarrassment or guilt or shame. That's Mercury opposing Lilith. Also on March 3rd, we have Venus squaring Uranus. Venus will be at 19 degrees Aquarius 28, and Uranus will be at 19 degrees Taurus 38. Venus square Uranus, we should be familiar with this one from last summer. This is where our relationships get a cure or an adjustment. Aquarius is not known to be a warm and fuzzy sign. It's a rather cool, distant, aloof, and yet demanding when it comes to partnerships. Now, Uranus will emphasize the unique boundaries or lack of them in this relationship, which could cause some with more leanings towards the Taurus side of the equation to become uncomfortable. Uranus, being the ruler of Aquarius in modern terms, may cause some relationships to disband due to revelations uncovered during this aspect. If that's the case, most likely the partners will remain as friends. But I think it's also highly probable that solutions can be found that would be unique if both parties are willing to work at it. We will experience hard angles between these two planets several more times this year, all in fixed signs as Venus orbits through the signs, aspecting Uranus with conjunctions, squares, and opposition. Watch your relationships. If you're sensitive to these degrees and signs, you may find that your relationships grow through these difficult angles. And the very next day, we have Mercury sextile Uranus. Mercury will be at 18 degrees Pisces 50, and Uranus will be at 19 degrees Taurus 40. So here's more Uranus action. Mercury will lend a harmonious sextile here, allowing us to access the inspiration that Uranus offers. Uranus can connect us to the angel realm, to galactic beings, to our higher selves. Use this time for in-depth meditation and for reaching out to your own guides. You may be surprised at what you're given. And on March 5th, Chiron will be conjunct the node. Chiron will be at 17 degrees Aries 27, and the node will be at 17 degrees Aries 27 retrograde. And I want to point out here that the node is a part of a pair, so the south node will be at 17 degrees Libra 27 retrograde. So don't ignore the other cardinal signs when you're making your calculations as to whether you are sensitive to these degrees or not. When Chiron conjuncts the north node, you will only be affected by this aspect if you have planets in cardinal signs from 14 to 20 degrees. Those of you who have these degrees in mutable signs will not be so affected, except for Sagittarius, who will benefit from this one. Leo and Aquarius will also benefit from this one. This is a healing aspect where one may realize how one's life plan or mission can help bring about a healing in your life. What, something you're already doing can help you? Yes, and it's not that unusual. For those of you who are trying to move your life in the direction of living your life plan, this is a good moment. For those of you who are not living that plan and are also feeling like you're fighting the fallout from events in your life, this may be a moment to be honest with yourself about what you really do want in life, because that will literally make you feel better. March 6th, Mars sextile the node. Mars will be at 17 degrees Aquarius 6 minutes, and the node will be at 17 degrees Aries 24 minutes retrograde. More node action. Here, we get a little fire under our butts in order to pursue those new or evergreen goals. Use this energy to pursue your dreams, obviously. And also on March 6th, we have Mars sextile Chiron, Mars at 17 degrees Aquarius 6 minutes, Chiron at 17 degrees Aries 30 minutes. More energy, specifically healing energy, to help you feel better, to cure yourself of whatever blues you're holding on to, and lots of energy to boost you up where it comes to your life's mission. On March 7th, the Sun will oppose Lilith. The Sun will be at 17 degrees Pisces 21. Lilith will be at 17 degrees Virgo 21. The Sun always brings a positive spin, even in opposition. Lilith will be exposed a little bit, so you may find that you're doing a bit of explaining, or for the weak of heart, a little sidestepping. You may even feel a bit exposed, but no matter what, you will have courage about what you're doing. On March 8th, Mercury will be conjunct Neptune. Mercury will be at 27 degrees Pisces 1 minute. Neptune will be at 27 degrees Pisces 1 minute. We finally move off of the node Chiron action and come to regular planets. Mercury conjunct Neptune can bring about confusion and misunderstanding, yet can also bring about inspired ideas for fantasy, romanticism, and even spirituality. So while this can be a downer when things get confused, it can also be a moment when we are lifted up. March 9th, Sun sextile Uranus. Sun being at 19 degrees Pisces 51, Uranus being at 19 degrees Taurus 51. Sun sextile Uranus, again, we get inspiration and a wonderful connection to our angels and guides. This can also bring about inventions of the non-conventional kind. So coupled with the Mercury conjunct Neptune, look for some kind of invention, creation, or concept to be announced during this period. March 9th, Mars square Uranus, Mars at 19 degrees Aquarius 51, Uranus at 19 degrees Taurus 51. Mars squaring Uranus will bring controversy into the conversation. We may find people butting heads about their opinions or political ideas. There could even be a few fists flying. Not an easy or comfy aspect. And this brings us to week 2. In week 2, we just have one aspect, Mercury sextile Pluto. So it's a doozy. Mercury will be at 1 degree Aries 27 and Pluto will be at 1 degree Aquarius 27. People will be thinking, speaking, singing, and signing, and vlogging intensely. Pluto will supercharge people's brains and they will be compelled to communicate in a very intense way. Week 3, March 17th through the 23rd. During this week, we have 5 aspects. The Sun will conjunct Neptune, Mercury will conjunct the nodes, Mercury will conjunct Chiron, the Sun will sextile Pluto, and Venus will conjunct Saturn. March 17th, the Sun will conjunct Neptune. Both will be at 27 degrees Pisces, 21 minutes. More marvelous inspiration coming to those who have a connection with this aspect. Mutable signs from 24 degrees to the end of the signs, even Capricorn and Taurus will feel this one. Virgo and Sag, not so much. The other water signs will love this one too. March 19th, Mercury will conjunct the node. They will both be at 16 degrees Aries 42, and the south node will be at 16 degrees Libra, opposing Mercury. Now, you may be feeling curious about what is going on in pop culture more than what is going on in your own culture. And actually, your own ideas and actions meet with the approval of your peers, even if you're worried about it. So don't worry, be yourself, and you don't need their approval anyway. March 20th, Mercury will be conjunct Chiron. They will both be in Aries at 18 degrees 17 minutes, but Chiron, oh yeah, Chiron's direct, so they're both just direct. All right, this brings more focus on your own healing, which can help you to figure out how to solve the problem. Here's the thing, when you're dealing with Chiron, a lot of you may be saying to yourself, I don't need healing. What is she talking about? Well, the Chiron event that has already happened may be hidden from your conscious self. You may either have no memory of it or be in denial about something that happened to you a long time ago. So, these aspects for healing for you may actually be opportunities to figure out what really happened. Of course, if you're not digging into this and attempting to figure it out, you never will. So, tick-tock, get going. No time like the present, or when Mercury is conjunct Chiron in a good degree for you. And March 21st, the Sun sextile Pluto on the day that the Sun has gone into Aries. We have the Sun at 1 degree Aries 41 and Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius 41. Wherever your energy is usually focused, you'll find much more drive and energy directed there. Pluto will intensify your efforts and emotions concerning this particular area of your life. For those with fire and air planets and points, this aspect will help in this regard, except for Leo and Libra. Cancer, Capricorn, Scorpio, and Taurus will also not like this aspect very much. Also, on March 21st, Venus will be conjunct Saturn. They will both be at 12 degrees Pisces, 16 minutes. Charitable organizations may go through a reorganization during this transit, so I hope it's quick. On a more personal note, there may be a lack of confidence in one's business or organizational abilities. What you want is just out of reach, but Saturn does make you wait for things. And later, when this turns into a sextile or better yet a trine, the rewards could be really good. So hang in there with this one. And coming up on week 4, which is March 24th through the end of the month, we have 4 aspects to look at. Venus sextile Jupiter. March 25th, we have the penumbral lunar eclipse, which is the full moon at 5 degrees Libra, 13 minutes. On the 27th, we have Venus opposing Lilith. And on the 28th, we have Venus sextile Uranus. Let's look at Venus sextile Jupiter. This one is super lucky. Venus will be at 15 degrees of Pisces, 48, and Jupiter will be at 15 degrees of Taurus, 48. So when these things are in Pisces and Taurus, you may find some extra money, some found money. You may win a contest or be given something nice for your efforts, or just because you're going to find it's going to be super, super lucky. Also, with Venus in Pisces, this could bring something to you spiritually. You might find something lucky that happens to you. You may have one of your gifts sort of open up. Now, be sure that you are communing with women at this time, because both Pisces and Taurus are feminine signs, and Venus rules women. On March 25th, we have the penumbral lunar eclipse. This is a subtle lunar eclipse. It does not look quite as dramatic as a total solar eclipse or even a partial lunar eclipse. This eclipse means that the moon is crossing through the penumbra, or the light shadow of the Earth. A penumbral eclipse is very subtle. At no time does a dark bite appear to be taken out of the moon. Instead, at mid-eclipse, observant people will notice a shading on the moon's face. And I'm going to be doing a whole video just about all the eclipses of 2024, so stay tuned for that. And on March 27th, Venus will oppose Lilith. Venus will be at 15 degrees Pisces 48. Lilith will be at 19 degrees Virgo 16. Now, you may feel like you got caught with your pants down, so be careful around this time if you have something to hide and if you're sensitive to this aspect. No flirting with authorities, for one thing. That could really get you into trouble. Let's use prayer, meditation, and maybe long hot baths to calm ourselves and keep everything under control. Now, what you do behind closed doors is your own business, but things that you do out in the public, that could really come back to bite you. And on March 28th, we have Venus sextile Uranus. Venus will be at 20 degrees Pisces, 37. Uranus will be at 20 degrees Taurus, 37. So the very next day, you are feeling liberated from judgment and reaching out to the heavens or the angels or the galactics or your guides for confirmation of your gifts. You may be divinely guided to do something unusual during this time, and it will be dramatic for you. So that's it. That's the wrap up for March. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Be sure to look for the full moon lunar eclipse video, which will be up after the 15th of the month. Eclipses are nothing if not extremely powerful full moons that can sometimes have far-reaching and dramatic effects if your planets align with it. I'm also going to do a separate eclipse video just about the 2024 eclipses, so be sure to stay tuned for that. That's all for now. Thank you so much for the thumbs up on this video. And if you like what you see, I hope you'll consider becoming a subscriber and better yet, a member. Members get benefits like monthly live meetings where we can all meet each other online, as well as getting discounts on readings from me. And if you would like a reading from me, please go to my website, thecoolcrone.com, and look for the Book Now tab. And with that, I will just say, see you next time.